We also want to encourage social interaction and peer support. So we have them exercising in the home. We also direct them to exercise outside. But what we need to do is try and replicate the social connectivity of the phase 3. So what they can do when they're exercising in their own home is they can exercise in their own home with up to 3 other people at the exact same time. So they set up who they want to link with, and people agree that they want to exercise at a certain time, and when they log onto the system at home, they're able to talk to each other while they're exercising. And that's really important because social interaction by itself brings around health benefits. Now we can also get them to meet outside the home as well. If they want to go for a walk in a local park, they can arrange to meet up as well. As I said, we have a number of sensors, and we use these sensors to optimize the training experience for them. So we have a heart rate, repetition, and exercise correctness that we monitor inside. And as I said, we can have a ECG measure as well. And when they're outside, we can measure using the wristband, the amount of physical activity and the intensity of that physical activity outside as well. And use all of this information to optimize the training intervention, the rehabilitation experience for them. Important as well is understanding whether they enjoy the session and whether they are actually socially interacting with each other. We ask them after each session, have they enjoyed the session? Because we can use that information over a period of time of optimizing the exercises that we give them. But also we're trying to do some blue skies research here, where we can take their facial expression and try and understand whether they are actually enjoying the exercise, each individual exercise. But this information isn't then taken, the facial expressions isn't taken and stored. We just extract these features because people would feel uncomfortable with video images of themselves being stored centrally. Also, with regard to social interaction, we can tell how much talk goes on between people. We're not monitoring what they say, because again, people wouldn't like that. But in terms of if we can tell whether people are logged on into a social interaction environment to exercise together, and we want to try and encourage them to talk. So if they don't talk much during an exercise session, we can prompt them to try and get them talking to each other. As well as monitoring using these sensors, people also have the ability to log other activities that they do that can't be sensed. For example, going for swims, being in a gym, lifting weights, so they can log all of this information themselves. So we have this EXA class that can go on for any length of time that we set it to be, and it's made up of a traditional EXA class. We also have developed an EXA game, whereby in this case it's a frog-based game, and the participant is directed to what exercise they should do that will make the frog jump across. What we don't know is how much this age group who have suffered cardiac events will value games versus an EXA class, but that's part of the research that we do. As well as exercise, I said at the start, we also target the other lifestyle areas, but not as extensively. But we certainly don't ignore these other 5 areas. So at the very start, when they join the program, everyone has their exercise program to do, and they can choose whether they want to address some of these other lifestyle issues. So they go through a questionnaire around these other lifestyles. They're given feedback in relation to norms and guidelines, and then they can decide, do they want to set their own goals, for example, in relation to quitting smoking or reducing the amount of smoking that they do. We then deliver to them tips and recommendations around these lifestyle changes that they've decided to target. Then they can input their success in changing that lifestyle, it's automatically compared to the goals, and then feedback is delivered to them both on the laptop itself and also to the mobile phone, in trying to encourage them to stay on track for their change in lifestyle. From this, we extract a huge amount of data. And as I said, we use this data to try and optimize the exercise intervention for them over time. But we also use it to give them feedback, so they get feedback at the end of their exercise session. They can go into a simple dashboard that's color-coded to indicate whether they're on target for their goals for that week, for that month. They can look at their personal training goals, and we also provide feedback to them via a mobile phone. We also take this information and we provide it to the GP and to the cardiac rehabilitators as well, in a simple dashboard approach. So that when Pauline goes to visit her GP or back to the hospital can see whether they've been doing their exercise program and encourage them, because the medical profession has a great ability to motivate people to change their behaviour, and if they have accurate information on what they've been doing, this will facilitate this motivation. We also have a big dream, if you like, around Pathway, and that is if it could be rolled out to 10, 15, 20,000 participants, then the amount of data we would get would allow us to understand the relationship better between exercise, lifestyle changes, behavioural change, and motivating people to exercise, in comparison to the type of trials we currently run, which are 6 months long, self-reported, really lacking a significant objectivity. So I'm sure you can imagine if we had data from 10,000 people over 2 years, 5 years, how that would allow us to optimize this approach. So this, in essence, is a description of Pathway. And here, our team, the challenge in developing this type of technological approach is we have such a wide range of experts on the team, and so it took a lot to explain to the behavioural change and rehabilitation specialists how the technology could be used, and at the same time explaining to the technology partners what was needed in such a scheme.